Hi, students and stakeholders. I want to share my philosophy, my teaching methods, about why I teach sentence structures using the sentence composing methods. And I'll sometimes bounce between the high school and middle school. They're both challenging. It really doesn't matter which one I start with my first years. But in a way, it's because this is sort of how F. Scott Fitzgerald learned to write. There are classic stories about how F. Scott Fitzgerald would study his favorite writers, and he'd go to the typewriter and he'd just retype his favorite Charles Dickens sentences, and he'd learn how those sentences flow. When I was in high school, I was taught from the old school sentence diagramming methods of the Warners, and it didn't work for me. I did not know any of my comma rules by the time I graduated high school. And then, ironically, I had almost a 4.0 in college. I didn't know my comma rules very well leaving college either. I basically would pause and ask, does it feel like a comma goes here? And that's not a great principle to use as a writer. No, it wasn't until I was teaching south of Flint at Holly High School when one of our teachers who was working on her doctorate and now teaches at Northern Michigan University, she proposed we start using these workbooks. They not only changed my students, they changed my writing as well in my early 20s. I learned all of the comma rules. I learned all the phrases. I learned the phrase, verse, clause through my first year teaching out of these methods, and it changed me. Now, why it worked for me is because this is how I learned guitar. You see, this guitar I had in high school, and I've basically worn the frets away from learning those open chords that we learned those first months. I was learning by playing, not really just doing exercises. I would want to learn chords because I wanted to learn the song. And I would then write my own song. Well, the principles of these workbooks don't focus on diagramming sentence and rules. They focus on great sentences. And we practice and we write those sentences out and feel the rhythms. And we have other activities that helps us learn, why is this a phrase? Why is this a complete sentence? And then we will practice writing our own sentences, modeling from them. And then we will apply those in our longer writings of paragraphs and essays. And I'm hoping you find your writing changed as much as I did with mine. So that's my principle. We are going to learn all of the different phrases in this unit. Participles, appositives, prepositions, absolutes, gerunds. We're going to learn opening adjectives and opening adverbs, closed adverbs and closed adjectives in sentence structures, and how we can move those phrases within a sentence to control our ideas. And I'm hoping by the end of our unit and by the end of your first year of high school that you are writing these more intuitively so your sentence structure is more in control and has more variety. You won't need to remember really a participle versus a positive by the end of it. It's helpful if you do. But rather, like F. Scott Fitzgerald, or like me in high school learning to play guitar, you're going to learn to write like a writer. Thanks for listening. Bye.